Hey guys, welcome to a new video. We're gonna quickly run through Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance and some alts. But first off, let me thank the partners below. So if you need an exchange and get an exclusive sign-up bonus, check out Bybit or PrimeXPT. So we're gonna quickly run through Bitcoin on its lower time frame, but not get into it too much because as you guys may know, today or tomorrow we're expected to get a decision regarding 5 ETFs. So their initial deadline is due to tomorrow or in the weekend, and obviously there can be a decision during the weekend. So we'll likely hear it by tomorrow. So this is 5 ETFs, including BlackRock and Fidelity, all that stuff. So obviously, we just pumped out of this lower time frame range we had. We were in here after the dump and we didn't do much for like almost 2 weeks. We obviously, with the Grayscale news, which won the lawsuit against the SEC, which restricted them from even applying to turn into an ETF. So the fact that this happened was obviously a huge win for Grayscale and crypto as a whole, because a lot of the points where they were denying Grayscale on were also the points that are up to discussion for the overall ETF approval. So the fact that the judges just ruled in Grayscale's favor does add like another layer of like extra probability for a spot ETF to be approved at some point. But having said that, just having this lawsuit done and all that just a few days ago, and then the overall ETF decisions due to today or tomorrow, I don't think they're just gonna straight up approve them. I think a rejection is like became even smaller now, like the odds of rejection would obviously be a big pain, and I mean everyone would just refile for another time, but I think a delay just makes sense. I mean, everyone has been saying this for a while. I just did a poll on Twitter, and I think about 70% of the people think a delay. Then about 20 or so think an approval, and the rest thinks a rejection. I would say like a 90% delay, 9% approval, and 1% rejection, if I would have to guess at this point. Anyways, to easily journal and track your trades, consider trying out Coin Market Manager. It's as simple as connecting your exchange API to the website to get your analytics ready. Sign up using the link below, get a 14-day trial, and I hope you really enjoy it. I know I've been using it for a while and I can't go without at this point. Let's get into the price action. So we are sitting on top of this range. Obviously, this is looking a bit scary at this point, I'd say. We didn't really continue up, and we're just waiting for news now. I would say a delay. It's not the worst. I mean, we're likely setting up for an approval later in the year or early 24. But I would say, I was already saying that down here. I wasn't expecting price to do much up on. But then the Grayscale news came out. And so obviously we went a bit higher, but I would say on the delay, I think it makes a lot of sense to at least sweep this low, which we just made. But I wouldn't be surprised if it just starts bleeding back down. Obviously, this would be kind of bad, and I would think if this happens and we start accepting back into the range, so basically below 27 or so, that we would go lower. If we go and take the 4-hour 200 MA and EMA, you can see we hit it quite nicely. We rejected pixel perfectly of this level, and then we overlay the daily 200 MA and EMA, and you can see we did retake it. We closed above it, above both of them on the first day, then in the middle of it yesterday, and now we're kind of holding on here. I would say like the 27K region is very important to hold. So if it's somehow we can push a bit higher now, and then let's say we're sitting somewhere around here, and then the delay hits, then I think we might see a bit of a dump and then chill around here and then go from there as the market digests the news. But I think if the delay would come in here right now, I think the initial reaction would be down. And unless it's a quick sweep back up, which would be fine, I think this would be a bit scary, because obviously there's like, this is a big inefficiency. There's like stops probably below here, most of them. So that's why a quick wick and back up would be good. But if we're just gonna slowly bleed down here, I think that's it's gonna look awful, and we likely just go lower. But having said that, I do think there's a chance that we just see a swift dump, then buy back up and go from there. I also think that's the moment where Bitcoin dominance finally starts trending a bit down, because obviously it's a bit scary. Let's say the ETF gets approved now, which would obviously be good. ALTS would also go up, but there's no doubt. I mean, we saw it here on the Grayscale news already, that Bitcoin is gonna move, and it's gonna move quicker than ALTS will. So let's say Bitcoin ETF gets approved, then Bitcoin goes crazy, and obviously Bitcoin dominance goes up with it. So you'd rather sit in Bitcoin than in ALTS at that point. So that's also why I think there's been a lot of scaling from ALTS into BTC over the past couple of months or year even at this point. Because why hold ALTS? And as they're trending down, and as well as such a big catalyst potentially just ruining them against BTC. So with the delay, I think it pushes everything forward quite a few months. I think people would be okay with trying to speculate a bit on ALTS, and obviously all the fun has been on-chain, like on Uniswap, that kind of coins. I think if volatility does come back here on the regular coins that are traded on stuff like Binance, Bybit, you name it, I also think the on-chain ALTS would kind of slow down a bit, but yeah, that's basically my idea. So I think delay might get a short sweep. If we don't, then be careful. And I think ALTS will crawl back some gains against BTC. Whether that's due to BTC going sideways, up or down, no idea. But I think it makes sense for this to start moving back down a bit. These are the doodles we had here for a while now. So obviously this is a big zone and we bounced straight from it. So still interesting to see how well Bitcoin dominance tends to respect these levels. But I'd say in between these areas, there's like not a clear trend from BTC against ALTS or the other way around. This would really make for really good confirmation that ALTS will start trending against BTC. Obviously, if we go above here, that would be pain, and I think ALTS would be wrecked against BTC. But I think at some point we may get here, but it will be upon an ETF approval. So who knows? Maybe we just go back down here, and then later in the year, ETF stuff will start getting speculated on or hyped again, and then we could still get something like this at some point upon the approval, which we hopefully do get at some point, but I don't think it will be today or tomorrow. But I'd like to get surprised. All right, moving on. We have ETH BTC. Obviously, this is the big contributor to the Bitcoin dominance. Like ETH is the biggest altcoin out there, so if ETH goes up like only 1%, you will see Bitcoin dominance go down quite a lot. ETH BTC, that is. Overall, this isn't the cleanest chart, I'd say, this falling wedge. It's holding relatively well. I mean, it's pretty high time frame, so I still like looking at it, even though we had a deviation up here. We're crawling against the top of it, so yeah, I mean, a breakout here would be good, but then shortly afterwards we will have to fight these two, daily 200 MA and EMA. If we can really get above there, and ideally above here, which is not that far up, like there's no need to prematurely already get allocated or move your BTC into ETH, I think, because this is 7%. Now, obviously 7% is a bit, but you get so much more confidence here, or like higher probability of a continued trend up once we're above here, compared to having to buy here with all these resistances above. Alternatively, if we do break down at some point, I still like this level the most, like this 0.055, which is basically our range low since mid-2021. All right, then a few coins that might be interesting. ApeCoin, it's just been getting wrecked, and it's kept getting wrecked. So obviously this thing, I wouldn't want to really hold this during this trend, obviously, but I do think NFTs and mostly the apes, they're fluctuating quite a lot, but Today is another day where they're up like 10% on the floor prices. They seem to be holding around here. Obviously they got wrecked over the past year or so. And as the rest of the market bottomed, NFTs have kept going down. I do think at some point they're gonna reignite a bit, even if it's just like a 2x. That would already be crazy, and I would think a coin like APE would go up with that if that's the case. But we're mostly watching for the TA, so I would want to see a breakout of this falling wedge, and then preferably also here get some of these horizontal levels taken out, and then from there on out should be open skies to like maybe even all the way up here. But obviously we'll need the rest of the market to also play ball for that to happen. All right, then LDO, also not as interesting right now. It's just I like how it's holding around this range low, or whatever you want to call the range low, whether it's 156 or 174 or so. But I think as long as it holds this region, it's pretty clear that there's some demand here. I think as long as it holds here, it should be good. And this is still one of those coins, like it's not gonna pull extreme multiples anymore, I do think, because it's pretty big. But it's one of those coins that are new this cycle. They're solid. It's being used a lot. High fees. Obviously, the token itself is relatively useless at this point, but maybe at some point, if they can, we might see some fee sharing with the token holders turned on. I doubt it, but who knows? But as long as this is like the main liquid staking derivative coin and it's getting traction, all that stuff, I do think in a bull market, like in a cycle, it would perform well, and it should be a pretty solid coin. But having said that, right now there's no clear. Well, the trend is down. Who knows? Maybe it's gonna turn around there. I would want to see a flip of this area, and at some point on like the really high time frames, break above here and then start trending. Something like that. But right now we're nowhere close. It's an interesting area for me to look at long-term exposure, but definitely not a shorter-term trade or anything like that. It could very well just keep bleeding down, and maybe at some point from here just blast off. That's something we've seen plenty of times in the past on these kind of alts. But overall, this region in general, I think is pretty interesting for potentially some longer-term spot backs. All right, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you have any questions as always, and good luck trading out there, and let's hope we get some action, some positive things or whatever from this ETF news that's expected. Have a good day. Bye-bye.